down a position, so we had that one person retire, and we promoted one into her position, and now we've got another one to interview for. But I've kind of broken this into different categories of the things we cover, and I have provide financial stability to Shawnee County under the direction of the Board of County Commissioners, and just to monitor and report adherence to the fund balance policy, make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners on financial issues, coordinate the budget process, and then facilitate the compilation and coordination of the capital improvement plan. The next area was sound financial management in a responsible, cost-effective, professional manner. And there's just a lot of small daily things we do in this area. We audit the payment vouchers, which is like the accounts payable, the deposits, and the payroll. All for accuracy, for documentation. If we have any questions, we also check to make sure it's coded to the right place, so it's recorded right. We also administer the purchasing policy. So we issue RFPs. We audit large dollar purchases to make sure that they have the required approvals, they have the documentation that's attached in the system. We check payments for contracts or contract payments against what the terms were. We reconcile all the job ledgers and the funds. We monitor adherence to the approved budget and the CIP. We work with bond counsel and the investment bankers on the issuance of debt. And then right now, we're working on this coronavirus relief fund monies from the CARES Act. And right now, that is taking up a lot of our time. We also make sure that we follow GAAP and governmental accounting best practices. We prepare the financial statements, the supplemental schedules, the footnotes. Everything you get in your audit report is prepared by us. We coordinate the audit process. A lot of that pretty much all goes through our office, and we coordinate that. And if they need to talk to other people, we make sure that they are talking to the right ones. We monitor any new standards that come about from any of these sources. We kind of watch that. We attend webinars and seminars and things like that. We have a new one that's coming up here soon on leases and how we're going to have to report that, and that is going to be a big job. And so we stay on top of those so that our financial statements are reported accurately. We provide accurate, meaningful, and timely financial statements. We do that through the monthly presentation that we do for you. We do a quarterly financial report that we have out there on the county website. Our audit is also out there on the county website. It's under the county clerk's, her website. And then the county's CIP, it's available to the public on our website. And within it will show detail of each project, the total amount per year, and the department, the funding source. There's also a map that you can go to, and you can click on specific projects, and it will tell you about the project. We also provide internal auditing within the county government, and that is mostly Andrea Forbes that does that. And she does departmental audits, she audits processes, she does some analytics to catch anything that we need to be looking into. She audits the grants and watches out for them, and then we do surprise cash counts in all of the areas that have cash drawers and even petty cash. And then she investigates all of the hotline complaints that come in. Another thing that we do is we work with all the county departments for fiscal responsibility. We monitor how they're doing throughout the year towards their budget. We notify them if we see a potential problem so that we can work with them to come up with a solution on what we need to do there. I think I already mentioned we reconcile the job ledgers, but that's important so we know that those projects and those, mostly projects are going as they should. And then we monitor the purchasing policies or the processes. You know, we're always looking for best bang for the buck. We're always looking at, you know, is this something we need to go out for bid on? Is it, are we looking at the processes? Are they the most cost-effective they can be? You know, we're always looking at whether the state contract or cooperatives or something like that will give us a better price. Just how can we, you know, get the, and the cheapest is not always the best value. What we really want to do is get the best value for the taxpayers of the county. So that is looking past just the price and really analyzing it, because, you know, sometimes, as we all know in our personal lives, sometimes the cheapest is not the best value. And then we work with the departments on their reporting and try to facilitate them if they have a report. One of the things I think is really important is, you know, financial reports and any of the reports of our system, it should be to give the departments the information they need to do their job better. And so I think it's really important that we work with them and with the IT department to really create the reports they need, so then they have the information to do their job better. And then I was kind of looking at this year's accomplishments. We were kind of looking at this as a department, and I think this last year was our first year that we did the formal capital improvement plan. So I think that is a real good step in the right direction. Working from home, we were able to all work from home and really never skipped a beat. You know, we had been working for years to make sure all the documentation was in the system so that the invoices are attached in the accounting system. Cash receipt documentation is attached on there. And because of that, we were able to work from home as soon as we could get people equipped at home. We were able to work from home and really had no problems at all. You know, we used electronic signatures on the forms, and you know, especially emergency purchases and sole sources. So I just felt like, you know, that was a real success. We were very successful at that. We all worked a regular day every day. You know, we were working from home. We would start out the day with a 8:30 staff meeting, kind of talking about, you know, what people were doing, and if anybody was having problems with anything that we would work through. And then we did a remote audit for the first time. There was some challenges with that, but there again, because we had all of these things in the system, we were able to do that. And even with a remote audit, we had an audit with no findings this year. Mm-hmm. There was not, you know, and that is, it says a lot about you know, the people in my office. I will say that says a lot about for them. It also says a lot for our departments, that we are all working together to do things right. And just that we had absolutely no findings at all is something I'm proud of. So, okay, so this is my budget for 2021. MSA 1 is personnel costs, and that is just based on the personnel we have and the, you know, salary increases that were already determined. We're not showing any salary increases for 2021, but there were some halfway through 20. And then the other two, MSA 2 and MSA 3, I always look at our actual expenses on those, and so you can see those have been adjusted. MSA 2 went up a little bit, MSA 3 went down a little bit, just based on what we've been actually spending. But if you add the 2020, if you add them together, that comes up to $14,978. If you add the 21, it comes up to $14,950. So, you know, $28 less. So really the only increase in my budget is just the personnel costs that have already been approved. Okay, the next one that I'm going to show you is the general expenses, and there are no personnel, there's no employees on general expenses, so it's all the others, and I am really just sticking with what we had last year. There again, to start with, the request I am showing right now is 2 million in capital outlay and 1 million with contingency. Now, that is always something that you could change, but this is just what I'm showing as a request right now. But we've had some we've been very fortunate with our utilities and things like that, that we've been able to stay within the budget amounts we've had, and so I don't feel like we need to increase that for next year.
Betty, outside of the elevator expense that we anticipate coming, we were under budget for our contingency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the elevators have kind of blown a big hole in that, but, you know.
Well, and even with the elevators, we do have a price on that now, and it should be on the agenda, I think, next week. Let's see, I think it was $532,000 was the price we received, and we're going to, like I say, get that on there. Even with that, we still show that we would have, and Jennifer gave me the number, I think it was $330,000 we would still have left in contingency for the rest of this year.
Okay.
So even with the elevator, that will not deplete the contingency fund.
That replaced all 3 motors.
That would be modernizing all 3 of the elevators. Now, I don't know exactly what all is included in modernizing, but, and they did say that they would use the same cables, if I'm using the correct terminology, because they did have an engineer look at them, and he agreed that they don't need changing out. So.
Well, and do we know, how much do we wind up, can you look at and see what our 2019 expenditures were out of the contingency? How much do we have left over? Was it about, by the time we get to the end of the year, because it seems by October on, it gets tight.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I can look that up and get back to you on it, but I don't remember.
I'm just looking to see whether or not, should we continue to set aside $1 million for contingency, or could we take some of that contingency and put into some of the capital outlay?
And that would, if there was an area that you wanted to cut back on, the first area I would probably say is that you could probably cut back on contingency, maybe to $500,000.
And then allocating, you maybe, again, if you were wanting to put it into capital outlay to cover some of those needs.
Whether you want to put it into capital outlay or whether you want to help use it to
Health
meet your
department.
budget.
Yeah,
Either way. But if there was an area that you could cut, that might be, that would probably be my first suggestion.
okay.
Because I cannot remember, I think we've had it at $1 million. And the nice part of having $1 million in contingency is it allows you the flexibility of spending that where you as a commission want to spend it. Once you put it into someone else's budget, then that decision is really, they have to come to you for approval, but it's up to them to decide where they want to spend it and come to you on that. By leaving it in contingency, everything has to come to you to be spent out of contingency. So it gives you more flexibility on what you choose to spend that on as a board. And then the last is debt service. We already talked about that this morning, so I won't go into that. And here's the same chart that I had this morning. So, any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
Are we done?
I think we are done.
All right.